Hello guys, a couple of days ago you seen me with these PCBs. So these are the new ones for the vehicles, and this is the first one that I was able to solder up. Now the soldering isn't very pretty, but it is working, so I'm going to take a little look at the features and just show you them working. So we'll try out a few servos. I just got some DuPont connectors and bent the pins in to fit the different pin header space in there. So I should be able to plug the servos in for testing. So here's the first servo in. We have 3 servo connections, one for the steering servo, one for the rear links, and one for the front links. So the first one here should be the steering, I think. Yep, that's our steering servo there. So the next one in is probably the front links. Yep, that's the front link servo. And then the last one is the rear link servo. Oh no, sorry, that was the rear link servo. The final one is the front link servo. I had a bit of a bad connection there, but this is the front link servo here. So that's 3 servos on the board. And the next thing we'll take a look at is the motors. So we have 2 motor outputs. We have a TB6612 FNG motor driver there, which is a dual channel motor driver. So we have 2 outputs with speed control and directional control. And this particular board is programmed for a dual rear drive motor. So this one has a differential effect. So if I put the motor on full forward and I steer, if I steer to the right, this one slows down. So that would mean that this is the right hand side motor, because it's slowing down to take a corner to the right. If I turn to the left, it doesn't turn down because the left motor would have to turn down. So let's switch to the other motor. I think there's a bit of solder in this contact, so I might have to hold it. But again, we have proportional speed control and directional control. And if I hold this forward, the last one, when I turn to the right, it slowed down. So if I turn right, nothing happens, because this is the left hand wheel. And if I turn to the left, it slows down proportional to the angle I'm turning at. So the angle of the steering changes the speed of the left hand motor to take a left hand corner. And those are the main features. So in the same space as our Arduino Pro Mini, we have our 2 motor driver outputs and a connection for 3 servos. And that makes things much simpler, because you don't need to solder the motor driver separately and wire it all up to the Arduino Pro Mini. It's already all done on the board. So I just have to solder the 2 wires for the motor in, for each motor there. And then with the servos, the pin spacing is exactly correct for a servo cable. So we don't have to have lots of ground connections and positive connections. It's all taken care of on the PCB. We just cut the wire and solder it directly to the PCB. So that makes wiring so much easier. It should make things much simpler. The only thing we have left to really look at now is the lights. So we have plenty of outputs left over, even though we have full control of both channels of the motor driver and 3 servos. So the first 2 pins here are pin 2 and pin 3, digital pin 2 and 3 on a normal Arduino. But I just have them here on the side of the board, and in this particular code they're set up to be the headlights. So you can see that little green LED there. It's going to indicate what we're doing here. So when I switch on the lights on the controller, they come on this little board, and this one beside it should be the tail lights as well. So we have the headlights and tail lights there right beside each other. Along this side of the board I have the analog input pins, but I'm going to use them as digital outputs for the LEDs. Well, all of them except A7, because A7 is input only. But the first ones we have here should be controlling the beacons in this code. So it's set up to flash the same as the Massey 8680's beacon. So kind of does 2 pulses on the left and 2 pulses on the right. So that's one of the LEDs. The next pin should pretty much do the same as that. So there you go, exactly the same. I have the indicator set to hazard mode on the controller, so they're both flashing, and the next pin should be one of the indicators. So that's one, and the other should be beside it. So there you go, that's both indicators. I don't have the work lights set up yet because I want to use the three outputs from the three spare outputs from the PCF 8574 chip, but I haven't wrote the code for that yet. So once I figure out how best to do that, that'll be in the code as well. So that's all I wanted to show you in this video. In the next one I'm going to put this particular board, into the Ford TW35 model, and that should allow me to start testing the steering with the dual motors pretty quickly. So that'll probably be in the next video, unless I have another one to do with these PCBs in the meantime. So if you like the video and you like these ideas, make sure and hit the thumbs up button, and if you have any comments or suggestions, let me know below the video or head over to the forum. And that's pretty much everything, so thanks very much for watching.